Hello everyone, this is Chris speaking, and this is my video about the 5 most important things I learned in this class. And for this video, I really thought about how CM during our simulations would tell us to describe any interesting things in the environment. So I walked around campus and filmed things that I thought were very interesting. And CM said you had to see my face at least once, and you saw it just then. You're welcome. The first thing that I thought was really important is that my discomfort shouldn't be a communication barrier. By this, I mean that I am someone who's very uncomfortable with touch, but this class really made me suck it up, but in a good way. I realized that my privilege and my discomfort shouldn't be a barrier for people to get the information that I receive almost effortlessly because I am hearing and I am sighted. Also, I don't know why the slide font was weird right then, and I didn't really want to figure it out, so my apologies. This is the sculpture outside the Health and Wellness Center. I think is really interesting, and I was wondering how I would explain that to someone who is deafblind, who I am guiding. I think we also saw another sculpture outside the Natural Science building that was interesting. I thought this rock pile would be a good tactile experience for someone if I was guiding them. I always have thought that this little hallway is really interesting too, and there's a lot of art there. So the second most important thing I learned was the difference between independence and autonomy. I was really impacted when AJ came and spoke about the difference between independence and autonomy. I thought it was really interesting, and I also thought it was really interesting how she spoke about the traditional school system and how they mix up independence and autonomy a whole lot. That's my roommate Sage, and she picked a really interesting flower out for me. Also, that's her dog Bella, whom I love. The third thing I learned, or that really impacted me, was the concept of distancism, or people saying, I don't do deafblind. I thought this was really interesting because I think it really shows how our culture is so adverse to touch, and a lot of us are so touch-starved that when someone touches us, we think it's either predatory or just weird. And I really latched on to this idea of distancism because I am someone who is so uncomfortable with touch, and I think we all have learned that the phrase I don't do deafblind is kind of just comes from a place of privilege, and it kind of makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that fact. So I really thought it was interesting, the concept of distancism. The fourth thing that I thought was really important is that access to information means different things to different people. This slide kind of speaks for itself. By this, I mean that deafblind is a spectrum, much like sexuality or anything else in our world, and accommodations and accessibility means different things to different people, and I think we need to respect that and be more open-minded about that. And the last thing I thought that was the most important is that checking your privilege is an ongoing struggle. It's something that you should hopefully do all your life, and mistakes are inevitable, but the way you deal with them really says a lot about your integrity and your character as a person. So I really thought that that was important. And that's the end of my video. I hope you liked it. Woo!